Hi everyone, my name is Mary and this is Quinn Ink, and thank you for coming back to part number 3. In this one we're going to learn how to sew on our ghost to the front side of our bag and make it seamless, and we're also going to be using some thread. I will post down in the video description on a video on how to learn how to crochet this cute little ghost. So that is something that you will have to do before this video. If you don't want to, you don't have to, so that's also an option. You can just leave it blank and you can just leave it a black little flap. Okay, so let's get started with part number 3. Everyone, we are back with the next portion, and this portion is going to be sewing the ghost onto your bag. Now you can put the ghost in 2 places. You can put it on the flap, you can put them on the back. You can also have 2 ghosts, one on the back and one on the front, if you would like. I want my little ghosty on the flap. I like that very well. Now, you're going to want to take your button out of your buttonhole down here, and you're going to want to put a stitch marker to a needle through here like a pin, so that way you know this is your buttonhole and you are not going to cover that up. So you're going to position your little ghost applique onto your bag, making sure not to cover up this section right here if that is where your buttonhole is. Once you have your little ghost in place, I would open the bag like this and kind of look at him and see if these is where you want your little ghost to be. So right there is where my buttonhole is. I like him a little slanted, so that's perfect. As you are doing this, you do want to lay this flat. Now, 2 things you can do. You can use these pins that I have. You can use stitch markers as well. So all you would do is just put your stitch marker right here and then pin it like that. That is one way to do it. Another way you can do it too is you can grab some thread. Like let's say you have some leftover green thread. You can actually put your crochet hook into your ghost and into the back of your flap and tie it. That is another way you can do all of this. So there are many different ways to put your little ghost onto your bag without having to use pins. So I'm going to use pins real quick, and I'm going to pin him to the back, to the front part of my flap. Now, another thing that that I am going to show you, I'm going to show you one of the ways of how to sew on your little ghost. I will show you one way, but I will give you many different ways of how you can sew your ghost to your bag. One of those ways is going to be using yarn. You can use white yarn for the color of your ghost. You may want to make it seamless, but you don't have to if you don't want anyone to see your stitches. Another way that you can do it is you can also use black yarn, so then that way nobody sees your stitches at all. Oh, and this one's split. Black yarn. If you use black yarn, you're going to kind of see a little bit of black around the little ghost, and that may look really cool and neat. Another way that you can do it without having to worry about if anything needs to be seamless, if people are going to see stuff, is thread. That is another way you can also do this. I think the way that I am actually going to show you is going to be thread. I think thread would be a very interesting one. Now, if you want to do a seamless one, I will post a video down in the bottom, and this video is going to be to my crochet bracelet, and it's going to be called the Summer Daisy Bracelet. In there I show you how to crochet a flower onto your bracelet, and it's seamless. So if you'd like to go check that out, I think it will either be part 2 or part 3. So I'll post all 3 of them down in the bottom, and you can go check out those videos and take a look on how to do this seamless. So what we're going to do is, you're going to take your needle, we're going to test this out. So you can pick anywhere that you would like on your little ghostie of how to do this. I think I'm going to pick right here. So I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go into the black stitches and the white stitches, just like this. And I know you can't see this very well, but there is a loop right here. And I'm just going to go right into that loop, just like this. Okay. And all we're doing is just connecting it. And as you can see, there is a little black piece right there. And that's okay. If you don't want people to see this, I would do it in white and do it seamless. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and whip stitch this. Now I'm doing a little bit different whip stitching. So I'm going to go up through the white, back down through the white again, and turn it so you can see this. So you see my thread right here. I'm going to go back down through and through the black stitch, just like this. And this is a type of whip stitch. Make sure your yarn does not twist. I normally hold it as I'm sewing. This is another way you can also make it seamless. And there you go. And I'm pulling on it so that way. And in the back, you can't really see it either because it blends. Now you can also remove this so you don't poke yourself, because now you already know, okay, that's where my hole is and this is where my ghost is. So this is another way that you can actually sew on your ghostie. So you're actually going to go up through the black stitches and you're going to go up through the white stitches. This is a form of whip stitch without going over your stitches. So whip stitching is where you go over, under, over, under, over. We're actually going under and then under again. Now if you go back into that stitch, make sure that you kind of slant your way through into the black stitches. There you go. And you do want to go through your white stitches. I'm at my stitch marker, so I want to remove him. Okay, so one more time. And then I'm going to let you guys go ahead and try this out yourself. So you are going to want to go through the white stitches and the black stitches. Just like this. So that way you don't have to keep folding it over and looking back here and folding it over. That gets a little annoying. So you're just going to go right through the white stitches kind of slightly. I'm going to come a little closer. So this is where my black yarn is. You're going to go right next to it, not into the same stitch, right next to it. Okay, as you can see, and then you can go right into the black yarn. Hold on one second. You got caught. Just like that. And just keep pulling, do it nice and tight. And there you go. So all they're ever going to see is this piece right here. Now to avoid that, you can actually just go right into the black and then make the loop and then do what I'm showing you. One more time. And then I will let you do the rest on your own. So you're going to go into the black yarn and into the white yarn stitches like this. I'm going to try and move my hands out of the way. Pull on it slowly because it does get caught. You can also put your fingers through the loops as you're pulling, like that. And then again, once you get to this point, you're like, well, what do I do now? And go right next to it. We'll go right next to it like this. And you're going to go right through the stitches. Okay, and there you go. See? So you have a little piece there, but no one's going to see that. Now another way you can do this, I'm going to show you one more way. So let's say you want to go back and forth. So I'm going to put my needle, through the back like this, okay? And let's say you want to go through the back of your work. So what you're going to do is you're going to come up through the white yarn like this. Okay. And then you're just going to go right next to your black thread like we did before and back down. So I'm going to flip it over and you're going to see my needle right there. And I'm just going to pull through nice and slowly as I'm watching the top. And see, same thing. So you can go through the bottom or through the side. Okay, so I'm going to finish up, and when I'm done I'll show you what it looks like. I am so sorry, I forgot to show you how to come up through the bottom. So when you're down here, you're just going to, if you can kind of see it, there's a little stitch right here. Let me see if I can move my light in so you can see this. So you're going to see all these neat little stitches right here. You're just going to go through the stitches right here. Poke your needle through like that. And it doesn't really matter where you come up from as long as you're close to somewhere around the edge. And flip over and make sure this does not tangle. So and then grab it from the back and pull. And there you are. So that's how you do it from the back. Okay, so if you want to do it from the back, that's one way, or if you want to do it from the side like I showed you, that's another way too. Okay, so I'm going to finish up, show you what it looks like, and then we'll move on to the next portion. Okay, so I'm back, and I am almost all the way around, but I realized I did not have enough thread. So I kind of wanted to show you how to fasten off, your thread, and I wanted to show you how to get back to sewing again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back through the white and behind like this. Now because we did it in thread, it's going to be a lot easier to just fasten off within the stitches of the black yarn. So I'm just going to go under 2 of the bars right here and pull, and there's a loop right there. I know you can't see that. There's a loop right there. And you're just going to put, excuse me, had an itch. You're just going to put your sewing needle right through like this and try to pull up another loop right here. As you can see, that's what it looks like. So I'm going to pull on this side, and then I'm going to take my needle and pull it back through that loop. And then I'm just going to pull on it like this. And then all I'm going to do is just take my scissors and cut. And then I'm going to cut off those little tails. Whoop, there we go. So that way nobody sees it, and that's the thread I was using. So I'm just going to rethread. I'm going to pick any place along here, and I'm just going to start going along. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm pull out some thread like this, and I'll show you how to fasten back on again. So just thread your needle like this, and then I take the 2 pieces like this, pull them, and then I wrap around my finger. So if I'm making a loop, pull the tail over, pull the loop and come over the tail, grab the tail and just pull. And then I pull on my string so that way I don't have any knots. And then I'm just going to pick a place. So another way you can do this is you can pull down on your little applique and see where it needs to go next. So it looks like right here needs to go. So I'm going to put it back here on this stitch. So when I told you before that you didn't have to do this part right there, so you know where it is, you're going to put your finger right there, pull it over with your thumb there. So you know your thumb and your finger are right here. Pick some stitches like this, and this is where you're going to pull your loop through. Okay, and then you're just going to pull right up. And there you go. And then if you don't like your long little tails here, you can just take your scissors and just cut them shorter. There you go. And then you can take your thread, poke it right through like this, and start right back up again. And there you go. Nobody will ever see that piece right there that I kind of messed up on. And then you can just start sewing again. Back up through and around. And this is how easy it is to sew on your ghost applique. Just like that. And then it looks seamless. Except for this piece right here, that's okay. And it looks seamless and it looks good. Okay, so I'm going to finish him or her, and when I get to this part, I will come back on and show you what he looks like. So that was episode 3, where you learned how to sew on this ghost in many different sections. In episode 4, I'm going to teach you how to sew up your baggie using beads. And the beads that we're going to use are these ones called Bead Treasures, and they're in pink. So we're going to sew up our baggie using beads, and then we're also going to sew beads around the bag as well. So I will see you in part number 4.